Welcome to worship in the Unitarian Universalist Church of Charlotte. The Jewish poet and liturgist Marcia Falk takes traditional Jewish blessings, the blessings spoken upon awakening or before a meal, after a birth or a death. She takes these traditional blessings and boldly rewrites them in her own words. Falk insists that on both momentous and ordinary occasions, we should pause to offer a blessing. Prayers of intention, words of thanksgiving. She says, blessings intensify life by increasing our awareness of the present, even while awakening our connections to the past. Falk suggests that every time there is a gathering of the faithful, we must offer a blessing that keeps our children in mind. She says, may our actions be faithful to our words, that our children's children may live to know. Truth and kindness have embraced. Peace and justice have kissed and are one. This morning, we gather to witness life's unfolding through rites of passage, the celebration of new life in our midst, of families seeking loving community, and youth taking the first steps into adulthood. We gather to witness these rites of passage and to offer with our communal voice our blessing. Welcome, members, welcome, guests, welcome all. As we prepare to sing, would you turn and welcome the people around you?
We light this chalice to celebrate the love within us, among us, and all around us.
It is one of the great joys of congregational life when families choose to join their lives with our community. Families seeking a spiritual home that will nurture their efforts to live in alignment with their highest ideals. When families seek a village of support to see them through the highs and lows of parenting, it is an honor and a joy when they choose us. As part of our communal blessing, we bless the children of our families with a rose. The rose is a symbol of the unfolding potential within each human being. We remove the thorns of the rose to signify our collective promise as a congregation to protect them in the ways we can while nurturing their resilience in an uncertain world. And this morning, we are delighted to share in the family dedication of Emily Boone and Hunter Soper. Would you come forward? My colleague Kathleen Carpenter and I will meet you here. What name have you chosen to give your child?
Emerson Holt Boone Soper.
We now know you as Emerson Holt Boone Soper, and it is our great delight to welcome you as part of our congregation this morning. And others before you have worn this name, and yet it is unique to you. And with the love and beauty you bring into the world, you honor this name. We celebrate with you your inherent worth and dignity as we bless you with this rose. Beautiful. Emily and Hunter, you have come before us this day to declare your loving purpose to give freely of yourselves to Emerson, to teach him what is good and true and support him as he grows. Love Emerson fiercely yet gently. Remember that you will be better parents with the help of community. May the miracle of this child make each of you even more loving and respectful of the other than you were before his birth. Emily and Hunter, do you promise to love and provide for your son, nurturing and guiding him, encouraging him to grow into his own compassion, resilience, and wisdom? If so, please respond, we do.
We do.
No one is able to keep our commitment in isolation. We need one another, and we rely on community to accept us, support us, and call us to be who we can and should be. So too, these families need our help, or this family needs our help in the vital work of nurturing and encouraging their child. If on this day, those of you who are members of our congregation join them in this joyful and challenging task, I invite you now to stand as able and indicate your commitment to this family by offering with me this blessing. We, the members of the Unitarian Universalist Church of Charlotte, join with you parents as spiritual guardians of this young life. We covenant to support you, encourage you, and assist you in your vital, challenging, and wonder-filled roles as parents. We commit to continue building a community of love and respect where your child will be welcomed, accepted for who they are, and encouraged to grow and mature spiritually. We will hold before you and your child the shared values of this congregation and will seek to embody those ideals in lives of justice, equity, beauty, and peace. Now, to those of you, you may be seated. I'm just going to give our young people a little more exercise. For those of you who are under 18, you can still stay, because we're going to give you yet one more. If you will please stand, children and youth under 18, including our seniors. I want to ask a very big commitment of you. You can make a very large difference in this young life. As he grows up and becomes a part of this congregation, the impact that your presence here has left will impact him. So I would like to ask you if you will all join. Sorry, I'm having to rewrite this in my mind. So if you're willing to do your part in celebrating young Emerson and helping him become the person he can be, if you will just say together, we will. We will. Thank you. Good morning again. I am Kathleen Carpenter, and I serve this congregation as its Director of Religious Education for the Children and Youth. This is one of my favorite services of the year, and today is especially delightful because we get to do not one but two rites of passage ceremonies. You just saw the one where we welcome our youngest into the community, and now we will
say goodbye to some of our oldest. Our congregation is committed to building and nurturing loving community, one where children are valued and encouraged to grow spiritually right alongside their parents. That commitment and our efforts have paid off already for generations of young people who grew up in this congregation. And in fact, at the first service, I had anyone who had bridged in the last 20 or so years to please stand up. So if we could do that again, and we can see young people who have been among us and are still among us. Thank you. You may be seated. This morning, we will celebrate 5 more who are now ready to move out into that exciting but sometimes spiritually challenging world. To my right, in the row behind John, are our 5 seniors this year. And while our congregation has most definitely shaped them, they in turn have shaped our congregation. They have been worship leaders, they have been event coordinators, childcare staff. Several have been founding members of our senior high leadership group, the Squad. Some of them have served as volunteers for Room in the Inn, Habitat for Humanity, Operation Sandwich, etc. All 5 of them participated in our Coming of Age program, which means they have all written their credos, which means they're probably a step ahead in their spiritual questioning than some of you are. They've done the work. We have been so blessed with their presence among us. We join them now to commemorate their passage into young adulthood. Our seniors who are sitting over there with their classmates and their youth advisors are we're doing a bridging symbolism metaphor here. So they're still youth sitting over there with their youth group. Each individually will walk across the stage, speak at the pulpit, walk around the other side. By the time they descend the stage to sit in the front row, they will be young adults. It's like a miracle every year. As they sit in their seats, they will be given a gift of the congregation so that they will remember that we will love them always. Our first senior to speak will be Emily Robinson.
Good morning. As I began writing my reflection for this morning's services, I had no trouble coming up with memories and lessons to talk about. In fact, I had too many. In the 11 years that I've been part of the religious education program here, I have learned so much. I learned patience during the hours-long card games at our lock-ins and retreats, and I learned first aid when the games got a little aggressive. I learned responsibility when, as freshmen, Amelia and I volunteered to be in charge of feeding 100 people for a weekend at our Charlotte Con. I learned leadership when I was elected co-chair of our youth leadership team, the Squad. However, something that has been developed in every experience I have had here is a desire to connect with the people who think differently than myself. Open-mindedness is a trait I have always prided myself on, but now, when facing controversy, I actively seek civil discussion. Whether it is religion, politics, or even veganism, I know that behind every seemingly simple opinion is a complex personal history important for understanding someone. Facing this head-on instead of hiding behind unfair judgments is the only way for true progress. As well as the connection with others, my participation here has allowed me to delve into myself, recognizing my personal values and exploring my individual moral code. Through meditation and spiritual reflection, I have been able to acknowledge and eliminate unjust inconsistencies in my belief systems, allowing for personal and spiritual growth. Before coming to conclusions, I always seek all the information available. When I move across the country this fall for college, I know that the lessons and memories I have gained here will always be a part of me. Thank you all for creating a space where I've always felt safe, empowered, and respected. The community I have found here is such a powerful part of my time growing up, and I know that it will remain whenever I return. Again, thank you.
Good morning. Good morning. My name is Sam, and I just wanted to thank everyone for being here. It's been a very long journey for me and for the rest of the seniors here. I believe I came here when I was in 6th grade. I have made so many good friends throughout the year. The high school class goes on many trips, and one of the trips I remember affecting me the most was during the coming of age program. We would go on retreats to the mountains, and on one of the retreats, we were required to do a 3-hour-long meditation and reflection. All the other years, you were required to do it completely. You have no phone, and you would sit there and reflect. But the year I did it, it was basically a blizzard outside. So we were allowed to stay out for the full 3 hours, or you can go back inside after 1 hour to avoid getting frostbite. I stayed outside for about 1.5 hours before I could barely feel my hands and feet, and thought it was best if I went inside. So during that time we were outside, we were given a sheet of paper with some guiding questions. I answered most of the questions, but I didn't feel satisfied with just that. So I wanted to answer 2 big questions. Who am I? And what do I want to do when I grow up? Those questions were hard to answer, and I'm still not entirely sure. But I did know a couple of things that this church has taught me. I want to make others happy and to feel loved. I want them to feel accepted, and I want to make sure I can always help them. Which is why I decided I wanted to be a therapist. It is at times like those that make me truly appreciate everything this church has taught me. Love and acceptance are probably some of the most important things I can help teach others. I honestly cannot thank this church enough for providing such a nurturing environment, for showing love and compassion, not just when needed, but at all times. Through thick and thin, I know if I ever need help, I can turn to anyone in this room. And for that, I say thank you. Thank you for being a community I know I can look up to. So please, continue everything you have done for me. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Amelia Hagan. When I began attending the Unitarian Universalist Church of Charlotte in the 3rd grade, I never expected that it would become such an integral part of my life. Over the past 10 years, this place has become a sanctuary for me. Regardless of what's going on in my daily life, I can come here for an hour each Sunday, commune with friends, and forget about the outside world. Though it is a place of refuge, it is also a place of growth. From my earliest days, my religious education advisors, Melissa Vullo, Peter Green, Michael CYRE, Craig Miller, Jean Jimenez, Cindy Fox, Rachel Pepper, and even my own father constantly pushed me towards spiritual and personal enrichment. Every strong opinion I had, they challenged. Every definitive I set, they'd find an exception. Through their words and actions, I learned that the world isn't black and white. It almost never is. I learned to be more open-minded and less judgmental, and to bring compassion into every encounter. Through our whole lives, the sexuality education class our church offers, and Coming of Age, a program that guides high school underclassmen on an exploration of their faith, I gained a deeper understanding of who I am as a person and my faith overall. I had the privilege of presenting my credo in between the services last Sunday, and both the number of attendees and the kind words that they had to share with me following my presentation touched me deeply. I have always felt welcomed by this congregation, but the acceptance and love that I felt in the Bernstein Room last Sunday was indescribable. I have cherished my time here immensely, and I will look back on it with fond melancholy. In conclusion, I would like to say thank you to Jay Leach for working so hard to make this congregation what it is, to Rich Green for always treating me like the smartest person in the room, to Kathleen Carpenter for her dedication to children and youth religious education, to Kelly Green for giving the best hugs, to Eve Stevens for rekindling my dedication to and adoration of the written word, and finally, to all of you. Be it through words, attendance, offerings, or actions, you have all enriched my life and made me the person that I am today. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Shane Fogarty. Throughout my time at the UUCC, I have grown so much. And no, I don't just mean in height. In my elementary school years of RE, I remember gathering into a circle, excited to see what spirit play would be like. In middle school, I got to attend my first weekend retreat to the mountain, plan my first services with the middle school class, and begin to form my own opinions on the issues that I had started discovering. Finally, in high school, I was able to gain a new perspective of the world through amazing experiences like the Coming of Age program, volunteering for Habitat for Humanity, and both planning and attending Charlotte Cons. All of my experiences with the UUCC have been incredibly fun, but what I have gained from them is more than that. From these experiences, I've developed a unique, open-minded, and conscious way of experiencing the world. I find myself frequently searching for meaning when encountered with concepts that I don't understand. I try my best to recognize the significance of things that I feel are too often taken for granted. I make it a priority to have anyone I encounter feel respected, and I realize that I am constantly changing and growing. In the credo that I wrote after the Coming of Age program last year, I mentioned my thoughts on the importance of mystery, education, community, and making an impact. 1 year later, I still find that these motivate me to succeed and keep me focused on my goals. Mystery keeps me interested. Education has prepared me. My community has supported me, and making an impact inspires me. Although I am not graduating until next year since I attend a 5-year early college program, I will carry the values that I learned as a youth at the UUCC throughout my final year of high school, my time in college studying architecture, and the rest of my life. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Max Fleming. I am the son of Mary Ellen and Ken Fleming. I'm the younger brother of Joe and the older brother of Hallie. First off, I'd like to thank all the adults who participate in helping with any of the religious education, be it in the classes or the parents who attend the Mountain Con, or any people who help out with any of the services that we set up. Especially John, because I know one of my favorite things about the high school services is the music, and you always help everyone with that. I have graduated from the Fletcher High School off of Sardis Road, and I will be going to attend Eckerd College in St. Petersburg to study marine science. Thank you.
Seniors, we are grateful for the words you have shared with us, We're grateful to know a little bit about what adventures lie ahead for each of you. And we are grateful to continue to be the community that witnesses your ongoing, unfolding potential. Seniors, would you come forward so that we can bless your journey as a community? If you are a member, would you please rise as you are able to bless the journey ahead for these young people? We, the members of the Unitarian Universalist Church of Charlotte, offer our congratulations and express our deepest hopes that your lives will continue to present you with engaging challenges and rewarding successes. You have been a part of us. You will continue to be a part of us always. As we release you now to the journey which lies ahead for each of you, we continue to call you to be true to the highest values which we have shared with you here. Please be seated.
welcome. We're happy you're here with us today in this room or joining us remotely. We're pleased to have guests with us. Our members would like to greet you personally following the service. So if you're visiting, please raise your hand and keep it up. Members, take note of guests seated near you. After the service, invite them to join you for coffee and conversation in Freeman Hall. Should it enhance your experience of future services, you can find both a large print order of service and a personal hearing assistance device on the table at the entrance to the sanctuary. Also, an elevator is located near the main entrance. If you'd like to hear more about us, please fill out a yellow card and place it in an offering basket later in the service. Members with a life event to share can do so on the reverse side of the card. The cards and offering envelopes are on clipboards at the end of the row. Please begin passing them now. Visitors interested in hearing about how to become a member can talk with our membership coordinator, Kelly Green. Her contact information is on the back of your order. Again, to each of you, welcome.
If you would like to learn more about how to engage in the life of our congregation, you can look through the back of your order of service, explore our website, or subscribe to our weekly e-newsletter, Currents. As we turn to the concerns of our congregation, I invite my colleague Kathleen Carpenter to come forward with a special announcement.
I am very pleased to announce this year's winner of the Religious Education Exceptional Volunteer Award. This is not going to be a surprise because we also gave it at 9:15, but he will act surprised. Pete Green. Is here this morning in support of this year's graduates. I'm going to share a little bit about this award, and then I'm going to tell you a little bit about why Pete qualified for this award. It was created back when what was called the Religious Education Committee in 1999, so this award is now 20 years old. It was created to recognize exceptional volunteers in the program that provides programming for our children and youth. While few of you may remember the man it was originally named after, Pete and I certainly do. It was originally called the Roger Atkins Award. Roger, like Pete, was one of our stellar youth advisors. And so it's just such a wonderful honor to be able to give this award to Pete, since he actually knew Roger. Since the original award was presented, 20 fabulous people have been recognized with this honor. Their names are on a plaque outside the CYRE office, but there are so many of them, there are 2 plaques. So Pete's name has now joined the other 20 on here. So, Pete has been around our congregation for decades. He arrived as a child with his family back in the 90s. And I think we need to recognize the people who actually got him to attend at that point. Will Rich and Nancy Green please stand up? So Pete left Charlotte after graduating from high school, and within a short period of 8 or so years, he returned to us and immediately came in and said, "Do you think I could be a youth advisor?" And I was honestly really surprised, because of the 2 green kids, I thought it would be Emily who would be coming in to do that. and it was Pete. So I was delighted to say, yes, Pete, let's give it a try. So here we are now, 13 years later, 13 years. And Pete has become one of my most beloved advisors ever. Somehow he has managed to mature as an advisor while never losing that ability to relate to the teenagers. Pete has been here most Sundays of all of those 13 years. In addition, he has served as a trip advisor for 5 of the last 6-week heritage trips to Boston with the youth, and on too many mountain cons to even name. He is also a regular fixture at our Charlotte Youth Con, where he is known as Mr. Science. Pete has the ability to help the youth feel comfortable and valued while encouraging them to think deeply and critically. Pete, thank you and congratulations.
Yes, Pete, congratulations and thank you. Tomorrow evening, you can join us back here at 6:30 p.m. to hear Dr. Jessica Score-Sachs, who is the chair of Healthcare Justice North Carolina. And if you'd like to attend that event, please sign up at the table in Freeman Hall. Voting members of our congregation, we'll look forward to seeing you back here at 1 p.m. for our congregational conversation and annual meeting. Beyond these walls this morning, we are sending our love to the family and friends of the people who died in the shooting in Virginia Beach on Friday. And that entire community is in our prayers as they navigate this time of shock and pain and search for a way forward. Within these walls this morning, as we feel the love and support of our community of faith and witness the unfolding of these young lives with joy and gratitude, we remember too that we hold one another in times of sorrow as well. Today we're holding Tom and Rita Bowers with love as they mourn the death of Tom's sister. If there is a joy, sorrow, or remembrance that feels particularly meaningful in your life this week, later in the service, when the music is playing and the offering baskets are being passed, you are welcome, visitor and member alike, to come forward and light a candle in silence.
Please join me in the spirit of meditation. For the setting sun from an airplane window, for the rising sun from a train window after riding all night, for the rising sun and setting sun in directions that feel foreign, for the sunlight even when we are lost, for the times the heart has longed to be alone, for the times the heart has ached for another, for leaving in fear, for leaving in hope, for the way home, and the way away. For the windows and the suns we have seen, for the windows and the suns we will see, for memory and forgetting, for the change that is our lives. Blessed be.
This church is a community of ourselves. Its energy and resources are our energy and resources. Its wealth is that of this community. As we contribute to the life of this community, we affirm our lives within it. We will now give and receive the offering.
These are the words of Jill Terwilliger. For the great mystery of what lies ahead, we give you our blessings and our love. May you see something of beauty along the way, touch hands with those you love, give more than you get, and find some pattern in it all. Please be seated.